So it's preparing to live stream.
Mm-hmm.
Setting up. Meeting is on Facebook. So I think we're already on, but you let me know when you
We
see
are
it.
live.
We're live.
I know. Hi, everybody. Melissa and I have fun hopping through the hoops of technology. Here we are. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. Food.
Yeah, deep breath in.
Food.
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 I think
appreciate that you brought this up. So I want you to give a little preamble, and then I'll kind of hop in with what's been coming up for me over the past 2 days around this.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I actually wanted to bring this topic up, and the post that I had this morning in our group was really where I'm coming from when I'm talking about food. I feel like for most of us, forget about any healing issues, just talk about food. For women and food, it's already a loaded topic. And it's loaded because we have a bazillion messages that we receive about what we should look like, what we should eat, and all of this in the light of looking good and at the end of the day, being loved, so to speak. So it's loaded to begin with. And then if we add to this, I want to say another bazillion, I got certified to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I had to listen and read and study 100 theories on food and nutrition. 100, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So at the point where I was like, wow, some people came up with some very creative thoughts out of the blue. The point is, after all this, how does one make a choice? How does anyone make any choices around what to eat? And I have explored a variety myself of options over the years. And what it came down to, and what I want to talk about today, connects both of us. It is really the life force that is contained in food. Our body, and I compared this morning, I was talking about this somewhere else, but I said, if we look at a plant, the basic 101 of growing a plant is a good soil, water, air, light. And if you add love to it, it actually grows bigger and better, right? So those things that we eat, I'm a big proponent of saying that they need to have the same kind of energy. The closer to the earth, the closer to life force, the closer to having that be in our body is what will nourish and nurture our body, physical body, emotional body, and energetic body. And then there are basically seasons, and our body adapts to the seasons. And that's where I think the Chinese medicine and the 5 elements really come into play. We can never have one size fit all. Our body's in different space. Nature keeps changing, and we must adapt. And that's what we want to talk about today. What do you think, Melissa?
Yes, amen. The other piece that I think is really important to say, there's one of the things that I've learned from my teacher: you are what you eat, you are what you think.
Yes.
So one of the things that came up today in one of my calls for one of my groups was a woman who was speaking about how just the process of eating, she had become very aware how difficult that is for her to just sit and eat and not have her mind be racing to what's the next thing, or just be like, get to the next thing. So when we think of that, so you've got what you're eating, but then you have the body that has to process and digest it, and all the myriad things that are going to influence how you receive and how you process and digest and are able to absorb what you've received. So if you are overwhelmed by stress, if you're just trying to busy, get to the next thing, if you are stuck, maybe even overthinking whether it's about something else in life or food, that actually impacts our digestive system. When we're ruminating, things don't want to move forward, and it can block our ability to absorb. Or if maybe you're overwhelmed by fear, and that's a different organ system that gets impacted. All these different energies are in our processing system and can block our ability to connect with food. So when we talk about food, the consciousness of how we connect to the process of eating, how we connect to food, that's a big thing. That's another thing that was coming up yesterday is like, I was seeing a woman who's a breast cancer survivor, and she was really like the number one on her list is I'm not eating right. I'm not getting enough of this at this time of the day. And this is what's happening during the middle of my day. You know, she's very active in the middle of her day, and she just couldn't figure out how to get the right foods in during that time. I'm like, what if you stopped worrying about that? What would happen if you just dropped that as being an issue and then just saw what else wanted to come in? Because sometimes when we're stuck in certain patterns of overthinking and worrying, we can't even see that there's another possibility of like, oh, and then we came up with a zillion different ways. And she came up with another zillion different ways that she could support herself during that middle of the day when she was on the go. So yeah. And in terms of too, I want to touch into this idea of we are moving into the seasons, and it's so nourishing to tap into the foods that are in season, because that's going to align with your body, the organ functioning, and support you. But you also have, as Chantel was referring to, you, even though like we're in fall and we're moving into winter, your body may be in a different season internally. So let's say things that if you are in the process of healing from breast cancer and you're going through chemotherapy and you're going through radiation, your body is in an overload state, physically and emotionally. Your energy is going to be super duper low. So in a way, it's almost like you're in winter all the time. Even as nature is transforming and moving through these different seasons, you're feeling it, but there's a part of you that's still like, I need to hibernate and restore. So knowing that and bringing that into connection, that can also help to align you with a higher level way of connecting with food, of how can I nourish my foods? I may need to connect into those foods that are winter foods, that are kidney foods, to deeply nourish myself, because I'm in an eternal state of winter right now. And I really need that deep, deep bone level of nourishment.
Yes, nourishment is one word that I actually use a lot. I think about, so I really like what you just said about following the season. And I heard the word higher guidance. You didn't quite say it, but consciousness, higher guidance, higher consciousness, to me, they come together. Mm-hmm. So food has energy, and we also have energy. And a big part of what I encourage, I've learned over the years for myself, and I encourage other women. I did a lot of workshops on food and body and weight and self-image and all that over the years, because it was one of my transformational journeys to really debunk and get away from this idea of thinking about food and feeling my food. So when we think about higher consciousness, a healing crisis, and cancer is a healing crisis, it really is a call to tune into at a deeper level. And food has energy, and our body has energy. So most often, because I'm on this journey right now where I ask myself, what should I eat? And I took myself out on the spin because I'm reading all kinds of books about how to starve cancer, how to do this, stop that, etc. And I'm maybe like your patient you were talking to yesterday, which is like, how the heck do I make a choice? So I know for me that if I settle and I tune in and I ask, I usually feel my food. Literally, I have images of what would feel good to eat. Mm-hmm. And I know lately, because it's fall and we're going into winter, it's getting colder, I actually have images of soups. So I'm looking at soup recipes, and I'm also looking at more baked food, warmer food, and I definitely do not have a craving for cold food, and I want to stay away from that. So often I recommend to tune in, have these moments where we ask ourselves, like, what does my body feel right now? And what do I feel like eating? Now, to your point about physical, emotional, mental, and I also want to include spiritual nourishment, nourishment is not just nutrition. Nourishment is a sense of taking in something that is actually supportive, that really support life force. So often we eat for other reasons than physical support. And I really am a firm believer of balancing both, because if we eat for emotional reasons, I'm a big proponent of not going like this. Shame on you for eating XYZ. And more of a proponent of saying, well, let's look at what the need is. What is the emotional connection and need that you have in this moment in eating and seeking this food? For instance, sweets call for a certain type of energy versus salt, right? Versus greasy food versus whatever else other food we can think of. But often, if I have a craving for these foods, I won't necessarily say no to this. I will bring consciousness to the moment where I have the craving as much as I can, and then go deeper and ask, what am I really needing? So yeah, that's what I feel like self-care and food, fresh food is. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yes. So when we think about cravings, that's so important because it's something that in our culture, we tend to think like, I'm craving this, it's a bad thing.
Right.
It's your body's wisdom. When you're craving salty, when you're craving sweet, when you're craving sour, when you're craving spicy, when you're craving bitter, there's a different organ system that's connected with each of those. That organ system has different emotions and different spirit that are associated with it. So it really is your body's wisdom. And I love what you said, Chantal, that I'm not going to deny myself, but I'm also going to use this as an invitation to go deeper and say, what is the message? What am I trying to tell myself? That I need more salt in my life, that I need more sweet in my life. What is this showing me? So yeah, so this is going to be one of the juicy things that we explore more together on the 17th. From 11 to 12 p.m.
Yep.
So super excited. We have an hour. One thing I for anyone who's viewing this as well, I had someone reach out and say that that time wasn't going to be fantastic for them, but they were really super interested. I assume we'll be recording. So for anyone who registers, they'll be able to receive it. So don't let that stop you from signing up and diving in deeper to all this awesome, juicy share that we have for all of you.
Right. So let's recap again what we talk about. We're diving in and zooming in a little bit about food as you know, I call it food for fuel. But really on November 17, we're talking about breast care is self-care, and food is one component of self-care. We have a whole roadmap on how to really tap into higher guidance and how to look at the different levels that we live into: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and never separate them. So self-care, I am a firm believer, again, based on my own experience, that self-care and breast care are related. Often breast cancer women, I have had that experience myself, and I have seen it in other women, are overgivers. So now it's time to go like this, take it in and then give it back, take it in and give it back. It's not a one-way street. So it's the more we let it flow, and just not take it in this way, but take it in this way from the sky and take it in from the earth. So a lot of the posts that we have on the page are about that. Like, how do we connect all those systems together so that we remember that we are much more than what is happening in this current reality. So that's what November 17 is about. 1 o'clock. Sorry, not 1, 11 o'clock, 11 to 12. All our lives. If you want to tune in again, Melissa will be here this Friday at 1. Yep. Next Monday I'll be there at 1. And then we take turns on this specific topic, but really the full hour of what you're going to get is November 17, 11 o'clock. Yes to My Life Academy / breast health is self-care. So breast care is self-care. I can't ever.
We'll put the link in the comments too. So it's easy for you guys to just click and sign up.
So thank you, Melissa. I'm really excited to be there with you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay tuned. Lots of juicy posts coming out. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.